Okay, so we are going to be starting, finally, the real top 10 albums that changed my life. We're going to start today, and if you wondering why I'm saying real, there's a previous video that I will have a thumbnail that you can click on as a link at the very end of the video that goes to like the top 10 albums that changed my life, which was based off of Metal Hammer questions. There's 10 questions, and I realized while I was filling it out and going through that. I mean, they were fun questions, but they were not like these would not get into my top 10 albums that changed my life. These were not life-changing albums for me. So then I decided to just like, there's no questions or anything here, but I started to think of like, what are these albums that really helped me, like formed different things in my life or that were really, really important to me. So that's what we're doing. So we are starting off with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's Dangerous specifically. So this album came out in 1991, and I would have heard it at about that time. So some background, I guess, that is useful. um, my mom and dad got divorced around this time, actually, or a little before this, and he had a bunch of cassettes. So I don't remember him like giving me this. I don't remember him ever introducing me to music. I remember that he left behind this little case with cassette tapes in it. I remember there being like some basically mixtapes or like copied tapes from the real tapes, like a burned CD would be, right? So there was some Queen. There was a lot of Supertramp. There was Michael Jackson's Thriller. There was Michael Jackson's Dangerous. I'm sure there were other things there. I don't remember there being a lot of tapes. There probably weren't more than 10 that I had, but I'm sure there were more than one I'm mentioning. So those were there, and I remember Michael Jackson's Dangerous. Now, because this is so long ago, I don't remember exactly the time period. Like I said, he did not. I don't remember. I don't have memories of him like giving me these tapes. Like I was very, very young at this point, and. Yeah, so I just had this case and it was there, and like maybe he somehow sent that disc or that cassette to me, because I don't think he was there anymore. So this is one of the few albums in this series or whatever that it's like, oh, I actually like had it when it came out probably, or like the impact of it was felt very early on. So we're going in chronological order here. If you've missed another video in the past or whatever, I probably won't re-explain this every time, but we're going chronological order through these 10 different albums of when they impacted me, not necessarily when they were released. The majority of them, I think, kind of followed that mode anyway, of they were released, and then I got a hold of them shortly after, and that's when they impacted me, but there's some discrepancies. But anyway, this first one, 1991, Michael Jackson's Dangerous album. I don't actually have the physical album, so that is another thing I'll mention, is that the cassette was something that I had for a long time, and then, I mean, I eventually, like, I never really bought cassettes of my own, because at the time I was buying my own music, it was pointless to have cassettes. CDs were already like in full swing. So, and this would have been like the late 90s when I started buying my own music. So I do not have that. And I never felt, for some reason, the urge to go and buy the CD. Even though I really enjoyed that album, there was a while there where I didn't listen to much Michael Jackson. And then when I started listening to Michael Jackson again, I just, I downloaded, again, in the late 90s, early on there, I downloaded or got a friend to download a bunch of, or this is early 2000s maybe, a bunch of the majority of the discography, or like I listened to the discography and I was like, I want these songs from this album, these songs from this album, and I just had the files as MP3s, and that was it. I didn't even have them burned onto a CD, so I don't have a physical copy of this album. And I probably don't even want it on vinyl, so I may never have a physical copy of this album, or a physical copy of any Michael Jackson for that matter. I think some of it would be valuable to me to have, but anyway, I don't have a physical copy, so that's why you saw like the little thing there of the cover art. Anyway, so that's just an aside, but worth mentioning. So this album, let's get into it. So like I said, this is partially my feelings about it, and it is very much a review as well. So this album had come out after a couple other Michael Jackson albums. Obviously, he's like, I don't know if I want to say peak fame, but there's some things that started to change with him physiologically as well. He was so famous. There are songs on here that reference his fame and reference the media and other people. Why You Want to Trip on Me, or I think it's called Trip on Me. That's a song that's on here. It's a strong, powerful song. It's a good song. I enjoy it. I enjoy the majority of this album. So let's start there. So like, there's songs that are really fun, like Jam, that features Michael Jordan just rapping on it at the end, and like I think they did like a Pepsi commercial crossover or something. The two MJs, right? Anyway, I don't know if that was before or around this time. It must have been around this time. But Jam is a really fun song. So we have songs that reference the media. We've got, of course, like ballads, Remember the Time. Got Eddie Murphy in the video for that one. But I mean, you got those love songs. Oh, and of course you have the positive anthem, as I like to call it, which I think there's like three of those on here. Like we've got the Free Willy theme. Will You Be There? Heal the World, and my personal favorite, Keep the Faith. So these like more like positive like anthems are on there. It's a very diverse album. I think, and the next thing that I want to get to is what I feel is the most important. Let me backtrack 1 second. I guess you've also got albums that are more about like romantic relationships that are not they're not like ballads. They're not love songs traditionally, right? But it's like the title track, Dangerous, and She Drives Me Wild. That are more just like fun, like, oh, this woman's so sexy. Those type of songs. And then the ones that I feel are most important are what I call like dark love. So I mean, a love song for some people is like a sad song, is it's a breakup song, and some people when you hear a love song, you think of like, oh, I'm expressing my love for this person, right? These are like these dark love songs, these songs that express dark love, I guess, or the darker sides of love and relationships. And those are the ones that I'm going to focus on here. But like I'm saying, this album is diverse. Like I said, as an album, there's a diversity in subject matter and feel, musicality, just some things that are fun and just quirky, like the Michael Jordan, feature and stuff. There's some other features on here as well from some lesser known folks. But more musical than Michael Jordan, for sure. And then some like really big names, for sure. Oh, and how could I forget Black or White? Jeez, what am I thinking? Yeah. Anyway, Michael Jackson is like very obviously very musical and composed the majority of the music, and would feature sometimes guitar players, like Slash is on the album. He's had like Eddie Van Halen do solos and stuff before. So he works with some guitar players and stuff like that as well. Like I said, there's a range of like people that are known and the range of talents and stuff. But as a whole album, it's pretty solid. It's a really solid album. It is the most solid album in my opinion. And that's one reason why I'm like, this is an album that changed my life. But really, it really comes down to like one song, kind of. And it's in that like bubble of dark love that I call it. So we've got songs that are there also, like Keep It in the Closet, Who Is It, these things that are exploring darker sides of love, where there's like secrets, paranoias, creeping is going on. There's a lot of that. The one that we really, really need to talk about is Give In to Me. So, like I said, the album as a whole is really good. It's actually, like, out of all the Michael Jackson albums, there are more jams on this album that I listen to on a regular basis. Whenever I listen to Michael Jackson, the majority of this album is on that playlist. Whereas other albums, it's like, Thriller, I have like 4 or 5 songs on there, and then like Bad, I've only got like 2, whatever. Like there's, a couple singles here and there from other albums, but this one is, either it's the fact that it's so nostalgic because I like heard it at this time and whatever, but I really think a lot of these songs hold up. I'm like, some of them like are just silly and fun, like Jam, and then these other ones that are really, really well done. Like Keep the Faith is such a powerful song. Like for a long time I was like, wow, this is like a really, like inspiring, positive anthem type song. Some people, like the Free Willy theme song, like, meh, whatever, for me personally. But yeah, without what I'm going to share about Give In to Me and stuff, it's still a solid album, but it being a solid album by itself is not that is not why I would make this list. That's not why. I don't think so anyway. I really don't. But it's because of this one song. So before we get into that one song, um, there were songs on Thriller, like Human Nature, that did make me kind of feel some things early on. And again, I had that cassette at the same time I had this one. I mean, if not earlier, because it came out earlier. Um, but I mean, I was so young when even Dangerous came out. Like, I don't know when I started listening to these cassettes or when they were being played in my abode, because I don't have memory of my dad playing music. I don't have memory of my dad actually ever living with me as a child. That I don't have that memory. Um, so yeah, songs like Human Nature, the melodies on there, and the instrumentation and the lyrics and the way that Michael is singing. There's things in there that definitely made me feel some stuff that I didn't understand, which is what we're going to get to, is that I was too young to really comprehend the feelings that I was feeling, and the music made me feel this stuff. So there are songs like that on previous albums than Dangerous that I even was exposed to before Dangerous, but this album, specifically, like I said, there's other songs on here that make me feel stuff, and I'm like, whoa, like what is this? Like, like Keep It in the Closet, like Who Is It? That they are exuding like pain and like frustration, things in a romantic sense that I, being a very young child, had no experience with at all. So like the fact that I got the vibe from them, and I was feeling these things that I didn't comprehend even from those songs too. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I know it's like intense. I know that it's like not good, and that we're not happy right now, and that there's there's a lot of complex emotion in there. And again, if you haven't experienced those things, you can't properly identify with them. So Give In to Me, that is the song. It is my favorite Michael Jackson song. I don't listen to it that often, which is going to be a theme in a lot of when I talk about music that's really, really important to me or that changed my life, which will, the rest of these 9 albums, we're going to get into some other stuff and have songs that we go through. I don't listen to them often. It really impacted me at a certain time, and I still, that impact reverberates throughout the rest of my life, and has for like decades, since, especially with this one, this is as far back as we go, I think, is 91. It's been decades since then, and I still listen to Michael Jackson, and I still feel very strongly with this majority of songs on this album and stuff, but I don't listen to necessarily this song a lot unless I'm showing it to someone. It is the most powerful song. Slash is featured on it as well, and it has one of the best solos that it's probably in my top 5, if not top 3 solos of all time in any genre. So yeah, it's just so perfect. It is a song. So, and again, it's really hard to describe too. It's very, I think, complex when you're trying to describe it. Like, what is it about? And it's like, well, it's one of these things that fits into this like dark love theme, if I call it that. There's this aggressiveness from Michael that sometimes when he's talking about his like backlash against the media because they're coming at him with this or that and the other thing, there's aggressiveness usually in those songs, and other than that, like these dark love songs, there's frustration shown. There's a little bit of aggressiveness there as well. And this song, there's like a little bit of aggression. There's frustration. There's pain. There's a sense of longing and wantingness, I guess, as well, and desire and lust, and like there's all these things going on in the song, and it's just so, again, everything about it is orchestrated so perfectly to me. From, again, everything that you could have in a song, lyrically, vocal delivery, the beats, like the feature on it, like just everything adds to this feeling, and it's just so, like I think it's so powerful. I don't mean powerful as in like it's inspiring and life changing. It's going to make me be a better person, but it's powerful in the sense that it demands to be felt, which is something that people say about pain. Pain demands to be felt, right? And there is pain on this song. So Give In to Me is just like, it's like, again, I suggest you listen to it. If you listen to any song off this album, like, because this isn't really a review of the album in a traditional sense. Like, yeah, I talked about some of that stuff, but it is like, why did this album change my life? How did this album change my life? And most of it comes down to this song. So because this song, more than any other song, it made me feel things from music for the first time. I didn't really have a lot of musical influence in my home because, like I said, I don't even remember my father ever living with me. He loves music. He's very, very into music still. A lot of it's like Latin music, but classic rock as well. Like like I said, Queen, you like Supertramp. There's other stuff in there that I know that he was into as well, for sure. And pop music, and that's not Latin. Some of that he dips into, and he did some DJing in Toronto for a bit. He tried to have his own business there and stuff. So he's very musical. It's weird to say like I got the influence from him because there wasn't that influence wasn't really there because he wasn't there. I got a couple tapes, left behind, and I had those for a bit. My mom doesn't really listen to much, like she's not an audiophile by any means, so it was mostly the radio or like church music that she played. I know there's some things that she likes, like she's like, oh, I like Enya or whatever, right? But yeah, she didn't have like a lot of like I like this artist and we're listening to this artist all the time in the home and I'm like getting influenced by it. I remember a lot of radio, The River actually in Lethbridge, that radio station. I think it was 107.1. I think, I don't know. Anyway, that was on a lot of the time. I didn't have older siblings or family members or like older like friends, older siblings or whatever influencing my musical taste. I was in Lethbridge till I was 10 years old, so during that time I didn't really have anything, and a lot of people always had music on in the house and stuff, and I didn't really. Like when I was alone, I didn't listen to much music, and when I did, it was probably, Michael Jackson, because those were the only things that in the tapes that I had left behind that I kind of liked. I wasn't really into Queen, not into Supertramp at the time at all. Now I can appreciate some of those tracks for sure, but at the time I was not into it. So yeah, anyway, like these were the first things that I was exposed to that made me feel the power of music, which is, this conversation that I had in another video, which I'm not going to get into all those details here. I mean, you can watch that video. I'll also put that thumbnail at the end of the video here. You can go watch that. But like the power of music is real, and like these are the songs that made me feel that. These, and Give In To Me is the one that like I listened to it over and over again when I was too young to comprehend what it meant. I was too young to understand. I don't even know if I was listening to the lyrics, really. I memorized the lyrics from listening to it so much, just like by osmosis or whatever, right? But like, I didn't, it wasn't even the lyrics by themselves that I was feeling. There were certain lines that came across and I was like, wow, like, but it wasn't because I didn't relate to the song at that point, which is interesting because later on in my life, as a teenager and adult, I really relate to that song a lot. But as a child, I didn't have any experiences to go off of at all, right? So that's an interesting thing too, just that relationship of like there's no relate. Like I didn't relate to the song, which is a lot of why people like songs. I mean, at least lyrically, like I can relate to that. That's a good, it's a good jam. Like I feel like when you strongly connect with a song, it's usually because you can relate to it. Otherwise, it's just a good beat and that's it, right? And I felt something from this song without understanding it, and so and that's just not just like the power of music, the genius of Michael Jackson with orchestrating and composing every element, like really of the song. I'm sure he had help, but I mean, as like someone who produced beats and like wrote his lyrics and like whatever, just amazing. So anyway, Give In To Me, this song is the one that, like more than any other one, it made me feel something that I was too young to feel. I couldn't comprehend my own feelings, and that was due to music. So that is how this album changed my life. Really, is that it had some of these songs that, like I said, there's other songs on here that did that for me, but Give In To Me was like, wow, really, I want to go listen to it right now. I'm all jazzed up on it. So. That's I mean I don't even know where to go from that. It's just such a powerful thing that like how music can make you feel something. You can use it to extend your mood, you can use it to change your mood. With some of these songs, like it can make you feel things. And this is the first instance of that I ever have in my memory of music affecting me, of music really deeply affecting me. Where I I felt connection, I guess, is part of it too. Is like it wasn't. I can't stress this enough. Like I don't know. I don't even know what parts to focus on anymore. Well, discombobulated. Like I wasn't relating to it on a level that I can relate to it now. I didn't have those experiences, and yet somehow I still felt this connection to it, and I still understood it without understanding it at all. Like it was like my heart understood it before my mind definitely didn't. Where I felt that pain, but that pain couldn't I couldn't describe it to anyone because I didn't understand it because I didn't have the experiences to comprehend it. So anyway, like I said, there's more than one song on here that did that for me, but Given to Me is the one. And like without that song being on here, I don't know if I would have even had this on the list. I just don't know. I don't know what that experience would have been like. Um, like I said, I mean, the album as a whole is still, out of all the albums, has most of the tracks like on it that I mean, like I enjoy the majority of the album. So that's another reason, I guess, like it could be on here, right? Like this album changed my life because it has this one song on it, but also it's just a great Michael Jackson album, and it's full of a lot of hits, a lot of great songs. So again, if you, for some reason if you're not familiar with a lot of Michael Jackson's catalog, this is actually a really great place to start as well because like a lot of his albums are pretty diverse, but I feel like this song has some real anthemic bangers, and it's diverse. I mean, it's diverse in the energy and the subject matter, the instrumentation, the features on it. Like I said, I couldn't even believe like Black or White was on here, which was like one of his biggest hits ever, right? Um, Attacking the media in some songs, attacking racism, attacking himself in a way, and trying to be a better person. Talking about how we can all come together in peace and love and harmony and be better humans. And these dark songs about love and loss and lust and frustration. I love when Michael Jackson gets aggressive because it doesn't happen that often, and when it's just like when he does though, like I feel that so much. Anyway, this is the first out of 10, right? And I love talking about this stuff. I would love to hear. I mean, if you have a video or if you have any responses you want to leave in the comments, like what are your top 10, albums that changed your life, or what is an album for you, or a song for you? What was the first one that you felt, like as a child? What is something that you connected with that maybe you didn't understand, or what it was just the first song that you remember, like wow, music makes me feel things, on that really basic level, like. What song was that for you? Or what album was that for you? What artist was that for you? I love trading stories. I love talking about music. And yeah, I think that's really all I can say right now because I'm just going to go into a cycle and repeat myself. But I'm going to go listen to that song right now. So we'll see you on another time for another review. And we're going to keep extending this into talking about the top 10 albums that changed my life. That was number 1.